Throughout June, the uplifting, promising and self-altering tendencies that the month of May brought will keep on happening. But these energies will also have a distinctively more subdued and even reserved quality to them than the vibrant, active discoveries in May. There is an inner transformation going on affecting us in subtle ways and highlighted by cosmic events such as sign changes and retrograde planetary motion. After the previous month's outward-bound social connections in physical space and at public gatherings of various sizes and nature, in June, we will likely retreat. In the best-case scenarios, this means we will have a chance to redefine and rebuild our closest circles of family and friends. A new sense of intimacy and trust is waiting to be explored as we come together in new ways. In less optimal cases, the retreat may go too far into the inner recesses of ego and lead to melancholy, isolation, hopelessness, or boundaries that are too firm. The counsel to keep in mind for the entire month of June is to stay the course of the golden mean. Take things a little slower after a big month in May, but be aware of taking it too far. Seek the company of people and events or scenarios that fill you up with a sense of intimate belonging, helping you to feel mindful, sensitive, and alive once again. In between the days of Sunday, May 30th and Monday, May 31st and Tuesday, June 8th, small beneficiary Venus will enter into the flux of hope, abundance, and the future with the great benefactor planet Jupiter. Their flux, a trigon, is the most favorable flux of all. Furthermore, both planets will be staying in areas where their energetic qualities are enhanced. Cancer in the zodiac is the sign of home and family, the nest and connections. Pisces means peace and belonging and a sense of boundless connectivity. The first 2 weeks of June will be affected by this supportive energetic constellation, and after May's business and restabilizing tendencies, turns the spotlight on the need to pay attention to human affairs no matter how small. Keep this in mind when you feel an urge to carry on with business as usual, or when projects and agendas seem to have priority over relationships in your life. During this period, the focus is on building or rebuilding connections with those who are important to you with sensitivity and patience. May gave us a chance, collectively as well as in our individual roles, to reclaim our public functions and self-esteem. In June, it is our sensitive, emotional, and human aspects that are returned to us. On Tuesday, June 1st, the Sun is in an exact conjunction with the North Node in Gemini. The North Node represents true north, or the direction that shows the way out and towards a resolution. Gemini's realm means cognition and thinking, communication, and everyday routines, and it is also the sign associated with playful, carefree, and light-hearted movement. This constellation brings into focus the necessity to allow our creative aspects to shine forth, especially after the grounding, stabilizing effects that May established. On the same day, Tuesday, June 1st, another flux highlights the same scenario. Venus, the planet of social relations and large-scale accessibility, is released from her tense and frustrating square with Neptune, the planet responsible for health and healing, especially at public, collective levels. What this likely means is that finding and staying in contact with others, as well as re-entering the public realm from here on, is likely to feel safe and desirable once again. On Wednesday, June 2nd, the planet Mercury, currently in retrograde motion, leaves its conjunction with Venus. Both planets are fast, carefree, and playful in their energetic qualities. The fact Venus starts to move on will probably bring further stabilizing effects and relax regulations about public gatherings, but massive amounts of large-scale, collective festivities will also likely still be held off. This, however, is just as well, since much has changed since only even just 2 years ago. There is no need to pretend that we can return to the same sense of normalcy about the ways we used to party. The cosmic message about this constellation seems to be to proceed with caution and without haste, but in all aspects, we get a green light ahead. On Wednesday, June 2nd, another event reinforces this effect when Venus, the planet of extended social relations and graceful human connection, changes signs. On this day, Venus leaves carefree and volatile Gemini, entering Cancer, which is energetically a much slower and more intimate realm in the zodiac. After the business that May brought with a multitude of places to go and events to attend, in June, the focus must and will be quality rather than quantity. As we have already seen and heard earlier, a helpful premise to follow during the entire month will be to relinquish large gatherings for more meaningful, more intimate social exchanges and build them up again. Spend time with close friends and family in nurturing, relaxing environments. And instead of big city-style hustle and bustle, find repose by water, among trees, in the forest, or in a nice park. After the happenings and realizations in May, June is all about feeling into this work, emotional deepening and compassion. On Thursday, June 3rd, the Sun will enter into a trigon, flux of hope, abundance, and future perspectives with Saturn, the planet of ends and endings, limits and regulations. As we are collectively getting back our active sense of being, and can safely connect with each other once again, our higher self is also beginning to feel more at ease on the larger stage of the world. Genuine freedom comes with this, as long as we remember to heed some rules and new structures that are currently in place. Between Monday, June 7th and Monday, June 14th, the Sun will be conjunct with Mercury in retrograde. Their constellation is yet another reminder that our active sense of being is currently deterred from spilling ourselves out and forth, tasting as much pleasure and novelty as possible. Much rather, the focus ought to be on quality and respect towards the principle of less is more. Also, to reiterate, June will feel like a slower month in comparison to May. This will leave room to review what we missed to build up or complete in the previous month, and finish or organize those projects fully. No need to start anything brand new in June, as it is not an auspicious time for that. Between Tuesday, June 8th and Saturday, June 19th, too much inner retreat and turning away from the world for regeneration might backfire. Because of a challenging flux between the Sun and the planet Neptune, there may be a sense of melancholy or drowsiness hanging in the air for no obvious reason. In contrast to May, when the directions and demands were clear and kept us energetically active in whatever cognitive or physically active way necessary, during this period we may feel the opposite. Feelings of lack of focus, blurriness of perspectives in general, and losing ground may be natural at this time. With conscious attention, however, you may navigate your way out of this if you stay focused on one task at a time, and when you remember to also occasionally switch out of your cognitive, left brain functions, and into the more creative right side. Dividing your time between staying active and resting, and reserving space and energy for connections that are meaningful for you are also helpful during this flux. Between Wednesday, June 9th and Thursday, June 17th, we receive cosmic help with this. Venus, the planet of sensitivity, graceful human connections and intimacy, will be in a smooth and soft flux with Uranus, the planet of perspectives, ambitions, and the future, in grounded and stable Taurus. This constellation invokes the qualities of an intimate, joyous family gathering around tables set outside in a rustic environment, like a garden party. It is also auspicious for online discussion of profound topics. Whatever the appropriate scenario may be at this time, it is advisable to seek the company of those who are close to us. Mid-June is a lot more ideal for this than project management, for instance, and will give us back a sense of our humanity in its feeling, sensing and connective aspects. In May, we stretched and lost some of the rust that built up on our social skills and relations during the past year. In June, we are in the process of softening and gentling. On Saturday, June 12th, another significant event may prove to be challenging to the previously described soft and encouraging scenario. Mars, the planet of intense, controlling masculine energetics, enters the sign of Leo on this day. The current collective spirit is already infused with Aquarius individualistic and overly cognitive tendencies, and the past year and a half's lockdown with installed rules and regulations is hardly favorable towards softer, more creative ways of being. In previous years, with Mars and Leo, heat records have been consistently broken. Chances are that this year, the pattern will be interrupted, what with the planet Jupiter staying in the sign of Pisces. A more realistic scenario, however, may be that during this period ego's needs will be prominent, and try to muscle their way in on everything we do. With enough focus and conscious attention, a sense of humanity will restore the balance between ego's needs and ways of being decent and social with each other. Be mindful of staying open and connective during this time to avoid the urge to retreat and close down on yourself like a tough nut. Between Tuesday, June 15th and Tuesday, June 29th, another constellation may lead us back into too much thinking and not enough sensing and feeling, and living life online rather than in the physical realm. If you have projects to work on or to build and manage further, this period will serve you well. It is also an excellent time to use for lots of communication, including online with people who are important to you. But when you notice a tendency to want to be online for extended amounts of time, or that too much internet gaming, for instance, draws you away from real life, try to catch yourself in the process and consciously abandon the virtual realm for the real world. Between Thursday, June 17th and Friday, June 25th, a benevolent flux will help with this. At this time, Venus, the planet also known as the small benefactor, will enter into the flux of hope, abundance, and the future with the great healer planet Neptune. This is a very soft, gentle, and supportive energetic exchange benefiting all things human, and because two water signs are involved, the effect will be even greater if you are able to spend some part of it at least by a body of water, such as a river, lake, or the sea. These 2 weeks are also ideal for gardening or horticulture projects, or for being away and spending time in nature. If you are in a relationship and are at a stage of starting a family, this fortnight is certainly an auspicious time for conceiving. Because of planetary and sign involvements, erotics, the family and pregnancy are all energetically imminent in this period. Between Friday, June 18th and Monday, June 28th, the Sun will enter the flux of hope, abundance, and the future with Jupiter, the great benefactor planet. Both celestial bodies are massive, expansive energetic forces of primarily masculine qualities, and they are real giants. Their connection happens in two areas in the zodiac that are considered to be primarily feminine energetic realms, with soft and gentle qualities. The constellation between the Sun and Jupiter in Cancer and Pisces further emphasizes the need to focus on what is most supported throughout the month of June, namely the feeling aspects of our humanity, connection, and deeper relations. Rushing, getting things done, and being productive will not be as well assisted as we might like in June. Anything that has to do with moving, medical treatment, and recreational activities are also well endowed within this period. Besides Mars in Leo and the energetic impact of that, another effect might also disrupt the peace, however. Between Saturday, June 19th and Monday, June 28th, Venus, the planet of groundedness, social graces, and balance and harmony enters into opposition with Pluto, representing blocked and frustrated energies. This may lead to confusion in the second half of the month, and cause an irrational sense of anxiety about everything that has been going so well in our relationships and connections. This is not an unhealthy response in the context of what we have collectively been through. Human interactions and especially physical contact was regulated and even forbidden for an unusually long time, so what is the guarantee that something won't go terribly wrong again? As we have seen, however, the month of June is further opening things up, and there is plenty of cosmic support for inner peace and balance. Be aware of your own tendency to cause turbulence where there may only be smooth sailing. Stay the course and don't forget the power of breath when something is threatening to go awry. With mindful, conscious attention, irrational fears and anxiety thus may leave you and peace can return. On Monday, June 21st, the Sun enters the zodiacal realm of gentle and connective Cancer. The focus is now officially on aspects of the human condition that represent aliveness and feelings and emotions. The Sun here will help restore anything that might be off balance in the areas of home and family and human connections, despite the two previously mentioned challenges with Mars in Leo and Venus' difficult flux with Pluto. On Monday, June 21st, planetary giant Jupiter starts its retrograde motion in Pisces. Jupiter entered Pisces 5 weeks ago, and out of the sign's 30-degree range covered 2 degrees. The planet will be retrograde for 5 weeks, until July 28th, during which time it will go back to Aquarius. Be aware that within this period, you may feel melancholy and have a proneness to being drowsy or in need of extra sleep. Another tendency to keep in mind at this time is that with an increased wish to retreat inward, the outside world and its contours may become blurry, out of focus. If you tend to bloat easily or put on watery layers, pay attention with a sense of preparedness, as it is also likely to happen. In the case of higher road scenarios, these 5 weeks may bring profound insights and intuitive epiphanies. On Wednesday, June 23, Mercury turns direct again in Gemini. Mercury rules ideas and thinking, communication, and everyday functional routines. After it spent 3 weeks in retrograde motion in its own sign in Gemini, this is very good news. Before too much melancholy or even a sense of drowning in emotions may have taken over, Mercury's direct motion will bring back some much-needed carefree and playful qualities into the collective as well as into our individual worlds. Simultaneously, the planet will enter the flux of hope, abundance, and the future with disciplined and efficient Saturn, which will put creative winds into the sails of any projects or ideas in the making once more. On Thursday, June 24, until Thursday, July 8, another effect takes care of the need to stay within bounds and be respectful in case we may be driven too much by ego's explosive needs, further encouraged by Mercury's movement forward again. The planet Mars, ruling immediate needs and wants, as well as our ambitions, but also haste, enters into opposition with planetary giant Saturn. Saturn governs great endings and rules and regulations, and will put serious controls on Mars' impatient push and urgency to get what we want without further delay. In the first 3 weeks of June, the key word to keep in mind is emotion. In the last quarter of the month, our active, doing self will once again get the green light, but it is important to do this with a sense of balance and openness, and at a reasonable pace rather than ramming our way through. Between Friday, June 25 and Monday, July 12, the same message is reiterated by another difficult planetary flux between Mars and Uranus. Mars rules ego and has a lot of red-hot urgent energy that wants to control everything. Uranus in Taurus means grounded and stable future perspectives and ambitions. The flux they enter is a square, which speaks of tension and frustration. Rushing towards what we want will not be an option in this period, or only at the cost of a lot of unnecessary sweat and wasted muscle power. Rather than turning a blind eye to the world around us and ignoring the circumstances to honor ego's push, it will be best to keep things slow and stay grounded starting at month's end. The period between Friday, June 25 and Thursday, July 8 will intensify the two previously described energetic qualities when they combine in a cardinal cross with Mars, Saturn and Uranus as the participants. During this fortnight, it will be essential and up to us to notice any tendency whereby we become puppets to ego's impatience, cool rationality and frustrated controlling mechanisms pulling the strings. This trio's energetic qualities may add up to mostly cool, hard and calculating ways with a sense of soft and peaceful compassion entirely missing. When you notice that you may have become indifferent to the outside world, running the program on autopilot, muscling your way ahead with a metal heart inside your chest, stop and take a break. It is okay to do so. On Saturday, June 26, Neptune, the great healer planet, turns retrograde in its own home territory in Pisces. In less optimal circumstances, which includes lack of self-awareness or inner knowing, this constellation may lead to melancholy and a lack of focus or direction. Earlier we have already talked about a similar effect on the occasion of Jupiter's retrograde motion in Pisces. With Neptune doing the same, the likely scenario of drifting without direction or drowning in spleen may be even more prevalent. If you find yourself lacking in purpose, losing ground or without a shore in sight in general, the best way out of this is to strive for the golden mean and stay the course. Keep yourself mildly busy with things that fulfill and inspire you, but be aware of any impulsive tendency to try to do too much. From Saturday, June 26, 4 out of the 5 outer planets are going to be in retrograde motion until Wednesday, October 6 in the coldest, most wintry areas of the zodiac. We may have an image in our minds about what summer should be like, with plenty of color and fun and activities galore with friends and family. However, this ideal picture-perfect reality is mostly based on the expectations about summer in the past 3 decades on the one hand. And on the other hand, because we desperately crave each other's company and summer fun and easy living in the aftermath of the past 18 months' deprivation. In the current planetary constellations, we will have to do with less and divide the most perfect idea of summer fun by 2. In our minds, we may insist on the circumstances lining up in our favor, or the same sense of summer mood sprouting we have been used to just in time. This is wishful thinking and may not serve our best interests. In the aftermath of the multiple losses, deaths and funerals, it may also be the more honorable course of action to stay away from loud dance parties or large fun gatherings. There is much to process still about what has happened in the past year and a half, more lessons to integrate both at the collective as well as on individual levels. No need to rush this. After the recalibrating and restabilizing events May brought, and June's overall focus on integration, we may be best served if we learn to enjoy the quiet. On Sunday, June 27th, Venus, ruler of social life, eroticism, balance and harmony, and relationships, leaves Cancer and enters Leo. Energetically, Cancer is very close to what Venus represents as the sign of feelings and emotions, intimacy and family, and the nest as an environment. Leo means closed and well-defined borders of self, and a strong sense of control. In this regard, Leo is a conflictive realm for Venus. Yet again, this sign change puts the spotlight on what keeps repeating as a theme throughout the entire month of June, which is the danger of retreating too far into a closed state of existence. Venus entering Leo may further induce a turning away from the world, and in our relationships could lead to distance or even resistance of contact. This is alien to Venus' courteous, soft and harmonious connective qualities, so it will need conscious attention to manage this at the end of the month. Especially if you are dating or in a committed relationship, you may need to pay careful attention to feelings of distance or alienation, or a sense of competition, all of which erode intimacy. For 2 days on Tuesday and Wednesday on the 29th and 30th of June, Venus that just entered Leo will travel without a flux with any other planets. This may have the effect of inducing fairly large existential questions, such as who are we and why are we here? What and who do we represent in our relationships? If you are in a couple, you may feel oddly isolated or alone in your relationship all of a sudden. Only 2 days, but you may feel your partner disappeared or that you may have lost them somehow. Between Wednesday, June 30th and Sunday, July 11th, however, the cavalry comes riding in as the Sun and Uranus enter into the flux of a soft and supportive, graceful sextile with each other. The Sun will be in Cancer, realm of feelings and emotions, trust and intimacy, while Uranus, the planet of clarity and future perspectives, travels in Taurus, realm of groundedness and stability. Their constellation provides the grand sum total, worthy of remembrance throughout the entire month of June, which is this: stay the course of the golden mean, and be aware of any tendency pulling you either too deep into melancholy and selflessness without healthy boundaries, or the opposite, when you act too rashly or impulsively pushed by ego and its controlling needs. With enough awareness, when you remember to do so, the month of June may bring emotionally fulfilling and even profound experiences in self-knowing.